Support for Podcast by Night is provided by Midnight Syndicate. To learn more, please visit midnightsyndicate.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podcast by Night. I just wanted everybody to know that while yours truly is hard at work editing Ventru Part 2, I made a little stopover at a little thing called Gen Con. Let me tell you, it was amazing. And I stopped by the Paradox White Wolf booth, and I made a little interview with some new friends. So, without further ado, here's a little taste of that for this week. I hope you enjoy it. I know I did. I'm really, really looking forward to this game. Can't wait to tell you all about it. And I will put a link in the show notes and also a link to a gallery of the pictures of the game. All right, enjoy. Hey, everybody. This is John with Podcast by Night. I am at the Paradox Interactive Vampire the Masquerade White Wolf booth at Gen Con. And I'm with some very exciting people right now. And we're going to demo an amazing game that's going to be coming out very soon. Say who you are, where you work for, and what game this is.
Hello, my name is Thomas Philippi, and I'm working for Flyers Games. I'm the co-founder, and we're working on Vampire the Masquerade Chapters, which is a very exciting board game. And here's a colleague I'd like to present as well.
I'm Gary, creative director from Flyers Games and co-designer of Vampire the Masquerade Chapters.
Awesome. And what exactly is Chapters?
Well, Chapters is a story-driven board game, a narrative play for 1 to 4 players. Something that is very exciting is that you have 40 sealed scenarios where every single action that you do is going to impact the next. So it's a story-driven where your action actually matters. It's an adventure thrilling game based on 2 mechanisms where you have a tactical combat, but also some dialogue branching scenarios. So what you decide to do if, for example, you see someone, a guard in a room on the tile and you're playing the miniatures, you can decide to sneak in, sneak around. You can decide to combat directly. You can try and decide to talk your way out and maybe he's going to let you in. Or maybe if things turns out, you can actually punch him in the face. So imagine that you're playing Vampire the Masquerade tabletop with your character sheet, with your pen and your pals, but now it's contained in a box and no game master required. That's what we're trying to do. We've been playing Vampire the Masquerade for 18 years now, so we are big fans and we're trying to deliver that good, basically a campaign that you can play solo or up with 4 friends.
That's amazing. I love that idea. I mean, because who has the time now, really, at least at the professional age, I won't say my age, to sit down, crack open a book, at Friday night at midnight and start playing. But this sounds like it's the same experience, but just condensed. It's like ready to go, and you've got a set scenario, you've got the set number of players.
Yes, exactly. And that was actually the beginning of our thinking and brainstorm process. You always want to play Vampire the Masquerade, if you're a fan, of course, but trying to get people to friends to your place, or someone has a very exhausted job, and so it can be tricky sometimes. Right here you can play scenarios solo, but if your friends come and you want to play that scenario again, you can take another character. So you can play 9 playable characters with all vampire clan. So Camarilla, the Ventru, Toredo, Nosferatu, Montcavian, and Anar, Gangrel, Bruja. But since we're building this community and we have created a Facebook chapters groups dedicated to that, where we bring and get more feedback. Well, we are giving insights, getting some feedback to improve the game, because we're going to go on Kickstarter to that. And it's going to be Q1 2020, around February. Okay. And we've created, of course, a website where you can put your email in it, kind of a Kickstarter set reminder. Because if you back the game day one, not only are you going to be able to play the core box with all these characters, but you're going to be able to play the Banu Hakim character expansion for free. So yeah, day one support is very, very amazing and appreciated.
Awesome. Well, you know that Podcast by Night's definitely going to be one of those day ones because, the Banu Hakim, they're definitely near and dear to my heart. Oh, are the Tremere going to be in this as well?
Yes.
Yes?
Every Camarilla clan, Anarchs will be present, Banu Hakim, and we have also other surprises. We have an expansion pack, we cannot tell you more about it, happening in the 60s in Montreal City, so just think about it, and maybe you know what...
You heard it here first. Montreal, city of cathedrals. Oh boy. Something like that. All right, so why don't you walk us through how to play this thing? This is amazing.
Sure, so in this example we have the Gangrel Prologue. Each prologue is basically a way to understand the personality of your character, how your character got embraced, and especially how the game plays, how you learn, in this example, how to play the combat system, how you manage to learn the combat system. So every scenario starts like this. You start by reading a narrative starter with a text that explains how the story begins, how your character starts her story at this precise moment. And in this scenario, it's a flashback happening in the 90s. So your
Very
character,
cool.
the Gangrel, is still a human being,
Right.
and a Sabbath vampire just killed your human brother. So the scenario is quite simple. Avenge your brother by killing the guy. Your action, reveal card event number 1. So we have a bunch of event cards, and you reveal the first one, and now the story begins. And you begin by your choice. Rather you grab the knife on the table by doing an athletic roll, or you decide to kill the guy with your bare hands. I mean the vampire with your bare hands. So let's try to say we try to grab the knife because every item you grab in the game remains in your possession all along the campaign.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, event card number 2. I got to roll a physical attribute and athletic skills. The difference between the tabletop RPG and our version in chapters is that skills are considered automatic successes. So if you're good at something, you are rewarded by that. So she has 3 in athletics, so 3 successes, and she needs 5 successes to pass through this test. So we take 3 dice because she has 3 in physical. We roll. It's the new system based on V5 for those who
Okay,
were
right.
asking.
The rousing blood.
Yeah, 3 successes, like it's almost a critical success.
Right.
So I succeed, I can move to card E3, etc. and so on. So it means that if you make a choice at a certain moment or you fail the test or another, your branching story will differ.
Right.
So at the end of her prologue, you will learn how the combat system works. Spoiler alert, your character dies that night and turns into a vampire. It's her embrace. So you learn how she became a vampire. You get rewarded by experience points.
What? So you even get XP with this game?
Oh,
Of course.
yeah.
That's so cool.
So as you can see, she's no good at investigation. And
Right.
if you decide that you want to level up her investigation, you definitely can. But if you want to replay later on, you can start a fresh new Gangrel. So the game is totally replayable.
Or you can keep the same character.
Of course, you can keep the same. For
Holy
all along
cow.
you keep one character for all along the campaign.
Right.
At the end, if you want to replay it, discover all the Easter eggs and all the other ways to finish to complete scenarios, you definitely can. We encourage people to replay the game. And then you can move on. Scenario number 1. Now the story begins. We won't tell you more about it, but Fall of Sabbath, present time.
Amazing. Guys, that is incredible. I'm going to definitely take pictures of this. I'm going to include it in the website, on the feed. Guys, this is incredible. It's like everything you ever wanted in your game right here in a box. You can start over. The replayability of this thing's incredible.
Yes, it is. We're trying to build a bridge between the board game community and the role-playing community. We're both, as players and as storyteller and player of RPG. Thing is, this community have great common shared knowledge. Thing is, we want to provide a whole-in experience where, if, for example, you want to have a more tactical combat approach, well, you can pick a combat-driven character, for example, Gangrel and Ruja. Doesn't mean that because the character is preset with specific skills, you can increase it in another direction, investigation, social, or you can pursue in the combat system. And you go through all this campaign scenario in Montreal, and then you like it and you love it and you want to play more. You can play with friends, but you can also replay solo, maybe as a Ventru, maybe as a Toreador, maybe as a Malkavian or a Nosferatu to have this investigation or subtle way to discuss and see the same hook of this campaign storyline, but from a different angle.
Right. Would you say that, because our podcast is mostly from a player's perspective, player's advice. My friend and I were storytellers, so we want to make sure that everybody comes into the game pre-armed, essentially. Would you say that this is like a great way to sort of, you said bridge the two? They can actually test out how would they play a Gangrel, how would they play a Toreador using this scenario, and then maybe take that into a LARP or a full-on tabletop game.
That's exactly the point. Imagine you are a Vampire the Masquerade player and you love to play and you're more about discussion more than rolling dice. You can go the whole campaign scenario with that point of view. But then at some point you will be able to test the combat system. And it can give you some tease like, oh, okay, that's not what I thought what a board game and a combat tactical would be. So you can try things out. And same thing for the more board game combat driven people. They can go that way full on. And then they're going to discover, yeah, role playing is actually very fun. So that's our way to make the Wall of Darkness richer, but also to bring more people of the board game community to the role playing community. Because we need to make this alive and to make it shine. So that's our way to make bridges and to make the two community happy and happy about it.
Oh, you guys, you're speaking my language. You're after my own heart. This is incredible. And also, what would you say the accessibility is for first-time players? Like, you don't know anything about Vampire the Masquerade.
It's a board game, and the idea is to make it available for any type of player. I mean, we're aiming to, speaking to players who like story-driven games, okay? So if you like board games, if you like storytelling, this game is made for you. And especially if you doesn't need to be a fan of Vampire the Masquerade to play this game. You just need to rely to the world of darkness to see a horror game come to life, and all the RPG mechanics will enhance the experience. So it's not an RPG, it's an RPG-inspired game. So it's a great bridge, as Thomas said, to the RPG, so you can definitely play those characters on the tabletop, but it's a board game after all.
So, Gary, it's a Masquerade game. Is the Masquerade going to factor into this game?
Yeah, for sure. We'll have a Masquerade tracker all along the game. So if you break the Masquerade by feeding on a human and being seen by another human, you probably break the Masquerade, which means that the prince or the sheriff will be angry at you. That's for the first point. But if you break the Masquerade another time, perhaps you have to refer to a higher authority, and new scenarios probably unlock to resolve the problem. And if you break the Masquerade again and again, maybe Inquisitors will appear in the game.
No, really?
Yeah, that changed the whole story. If you mess too much, you're going to have troubles during your campaign.
I love that. Sounds amazing. I love that there are those roleplay elements that's going to make their way into this game. That's incredible. I love it. It's the gateway drug to Vampire, which, I was saying, I love. All right, well, thank you guys very much. You said this is going to be around February it's going to launch.
Exactly.
What's the website?
The website is www.vampirethemasquerade/chapters.com. -chapters.com.
All right, we'll definitely include the link in the show notes.
And there is a Facebook group that we've created dedicated for that project so we can gather feedback. So you guys are very welcome to come. We're also posting things on our Flyos Games Facebook page, which is very easy to find. And you're going to be redirected to the website and also the Facebook group.
All right, awesome. We'll put those links in the show notes as well. All right, thank you so much, guys. This is incredible. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And, we're going to tell everybody about it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you.
see ya.